as opposed to sending people to faraway countries. We had garnered enough experience in instructors' corps amongst ourselves. So the war unfolded very rapidly and overwhelmed the Rhodesians in a very short period of time because of the big numbers. So some of them, those comrades, stayed in the camps without being trained. We are happy to say that they've now been included in those who are designated combatants of the war. Because they've been taken, they had the will, but they didn't have means to come back home in time. The party did not have. The parties did not have. So the job was done by the others, but they were still part of the comrades. Then finally, of course, we fought a people's war. It entailed offsetting the advantages of the Rhodesian military, which were many. They were supported by NATO, of the United States, which is the biggest power on earth, the best military weapons. They were supported by Europe in general, which has got a history of war, experience of war, modern warfare. You can see they never stop fighting, they are fighting again in Ukraine. So we had to offset the advantage of Europe by organizing our people, because they were the majority, our people. So it was a scientific people of war, which we fought, where we used our people's intelligence and our people's support to offset the advantages of politicians. To do that, we developed a core of supporters within the country. One of them is here, he has been proved to be, he was vetted by his comrades with him, with whom he worked with during the war. And he is one of his now places. Now he carries his certificate of being, because he was supporting the war veterans. I mean, he was supporting the war when he was a medical officer in the zone where he was. So these are the people, the third category. This is the third category. And then, of course, the final category is the detainees. There are now less of them. You know, the parties started here, then the party to develop, to go outside of the country. But those who had formed the parties were detained by the ANC regime. It's a dwindling number, but they are still part of the people who made sure that the war could be started and could have an external wing, which had constant recruits coming in from within Zimbabwe to go outside. So they detained, and there were many also during the war who got detained by the Rhodesians because they were fighting to support the war. So that is the fourth category. So the four components have been complete, and they've made the constitutional provisions to be designated as the core of the combatants. And it has taken us 42 years. It's unfortunate that these people who helped organize, first they unite amongst themselves. We had to unite amongst themselves. Remember, everybody's coming from his own house. And we had no manual of how to start it. We had been defeated in 1896 and 1893. We had no way of forming we had no manual to form an army. So we formed an army like crossing a river. You feel the stones as you cross the river. So it took us time over the years. So in the end, of course, we united amongst ourselves. And by 1975, we were strong enough to say the decision about the future of Zimbabwe is decided at Mugagao by the Mugagao Declaration, which said that the war now takes forefront and decisions about the future of Zimbabwe will be done by the military, the political military complex, which was the guerrilla army. And the results were soon there to see. Luckily, Mozambique had also become free, and it gave us a shot in the arm to say that we can defeat the Rhodesians. More young people left in thousands to go to war, then in tens of thousands to go to war. So that army, that shot in the arm made it possible for us to deliver the victory which we have today. So the people's war is very important as a weapon which we fought against. It was proper that at independence this core of people who had offset the Rhodesian military organism, but there's only two categories of people in organizing this country. Historically, the best organized were the whites. That's why they took over and led the country for 140 years. We had to build our own organization to offset the organization of the whites. The white colonial army, the rest is the army. So the only other people who know how to organize historically in this country are the war veterans. War veteran organization that have a huge core, I have a university organization comes, you are only given the theory to organize. Organization comes from the doing. And if you consider that we lost 80,000 people in the People's War, that is the price you pay for organizing our people, united. So we are now the most united country in Africa. Because people were asking, it comes from the war. So it should have been from the onset, we should have been part of the party. Zanu. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We had to struggle to get acceptance. The good thing is that we have a very strong contingent within the armed forces because we formed the army. So there was the reorganization. You remember Comrade Munji reasserting the war veterans. And of course, we also remember the events of 2017 when the war veterans rescued the country from an imperialist, colonialist reversal of the Zimbabwe Revolution, Operation Restore the Peace. So, as a result of that, President Bimha, so it fit that we become the former organ of the party, which we should have been from the beginning. Because without the organizational experience and the vision, remember to all the war needed vision. That's the other thing which many people miss. We had vision. To say, I can die, but my country will be free. That's why all the other parties fail, because I have a vision. Yes, our vision is proven by battlefield experience. That's why there have been so many of the parties formed that fail. In a collective vision of the people at war. So it's when the Second Republic made sure that we form an organ of the party, constituting those four elements of the war veterans. And with all the work having been done at constitutional level, at party level, at government vetting level, the job was then entrusted to the man on my right. He is the man who is in charge of putting structures of the party. He's the National Political Commissar of the party. He has done a fantastic job to date. He reconstituted the DCCs. Everybody thought they would be rancor and disagreement. He pulled it off. He went on to reconstitute the provincial leadership of the party. Again, everybody expected rancor and agreement. He stayed here and made sure things went well. He has proceeded to set up the Women's League, the Youth League, and in a similar manner he has pulled it off. He never stops pulling feathers off his cap, this man. The National Peace Program. Then recently, he was entrusted in setting up the Women's League as an organ of the party, as we lead the Congress in October. Again, he pulled it off. And we now have the organ of the party. The last organ of the party, before we get to the central committee, which is the main, is obviously the War Veterans League, which is a new one. And it has been good news today to address to the press that the War Veterans League process is in place. I don't want to take thunder out of the man who does his good job. His assignment is here. And on his left, he is flanked by the Secretary of the War Veterans Affairs in the party, Comrade Bimha. This one is an actual combatant, the war combatant, like myself, like also my Vice Chairman, who is on the right of the other director. So Comrade Bimha was entrusted with helping in the gestation of the new Veterans League, because you get to go to the ground all over the country and try to build up the historical aspect, because remember it took us more than 10 years to build our army. It also involves two armies, which eventually became the Patriotic Front. So there's a diverse history over a period of time which had been synthesized to be molded to give us what we are having as the final product today. That is the basis upon which Bimha worked on from an organic point of view. Bimha did a fantastic job with the sector of Veterans Affairs. We are very happy with what is Commissar Cde. And now, of course, the process has reached the final stage where the president, the party, is engaged with the formation of the War Veterans League. We always give a shout out to the spines of the Western countries. It's surprising when they say white farmers must be compensated, the IMF is keen to assume the debt on behalf of Zimbabwe. But when we say war veterans must be compensated, it becomes everything. Why? Because we are their nemesis. We have a singular distinction in Africa of setting up an army which defeats the foremost imperial catchpole of the colonial era, the British army. Yeah, we gave them a bloody nose. No other African country has done that to an English imperial entity. We did it. That makes Zimbabwe very unique, and we are very proud of that achievement. But really, it is that the background which I thought you would have, so that you need to put the story of war veterans in context. And I'll make some additional comments maybe after the presentation. And I'll also be ready to field questions. We have met each other for some time now. There are a lot of things which have been passing around. There's a lot of turbulence. Everybody says crisis in Zanu. Crisis in Zimbabwe. Crisis is in England. That's when the Prime Minister is resigning. Zanu is 31st. Crisis is in the other parties, but not us. We are steady, we are organized, and the man who is holding it all together is ready to speak. There you are.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Tramba, who is the chairman of the War Veterans Association, but who is also the Secretary for Information and Publicity of the Politburo of ZANU-PF. I also want to acknowledge Comrade Mahia, who is the Secretary for the Veterans Affairs here at head office, and also Comrade Moyo, his deputy. I also want to acknowledge other veterans around here, as well as the directors who are here, Comrade Mungwadi of Information and Publicity, Comrade Uchepa of Commissariat, and also Comrade Brown of the Commissariat. The Central Committee meeting of November 2017 resolved that the party should have a League of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle. This is in recognition of the role played by the veterans, ushering in independence in Zimbabwe and gallantly safeguarding it at all costs. To that end, the Central Committee once again in 2019 implemented the 2017 resolution by adopting the creation of the League of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle. Thus, the League is now an integral part of the party, ZANU-PF. To that end, we have guidelines that have been crafted to regulate the technical process of creating the structure of the League. And that's the guidelines I want to talk about. In terms of Article 19 of the Party Constitution and the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Act, The League shall be constituted by 4 constituencies as follows. Those who joined the 2 Liberation War armies, that is Zala and Zebra, and these are the ones who participated in the War of Liberation. And I think later on I referred to them as the combatants. We have those who were imprisoned, detained, or restricted for political reasons during the War of Liberations. We also have the non-combatant cadres and those who assisted the fighters in the War of Liberation, known as war collaborators. The formation of the Veterans League does not affect the associations of the 4 categories as currently constituted. I'll now move to the elections and structure of the League. The elections of the structures of the Veterans League shall be organized and conducted by the Commissariat Department. The Electoral College will be constituted by registered veterans of ZANU-PF as appearing on party registers. The elections will follow the normal pattern, where members of the districts elect provincial and the latter elect members of the National Executive Committee. Owing to the unique composition of the Veterans League, unlike in the other wings, which are uniform, elections at district, provincial, and national levels in the Veterans League will be slightly different in that, that the posts of chairpersons, secretary for commissariat, and secretary for security, those 3 shall be reserved for the actual war fighters or the combatants. And B, that the combatants will occupy 20 seats out of the available 40 seats. And that the remaining 20 seats will be shared among the ex-political detainees, the non-combatant cadres, and the war collaborators. And 4, where combatants do not make sufficient numbers to occupy all the 20 seats, the remaining positions will be filled by members of the other 3 categories. Only successfully vetted veterans shall participate during the elections of the League. Veterans who qualify for election into the League must be confirmed ZANU-PF members. Veterans in the main wing and the Women's League are free to compete for posts in the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle League on condition that they will relinquish their current posts in the event that they become successful in the Veterans of the League elections. War veterans will elect their 26 separately, while the other classes will also elect their 26 separately as well. Winning candidates from this process will then be seconded into a pool of nominees. Thereafter, having 40 nominees, the positions will be allocated through a zebra system, having taken care of the 3 positions reserved for the combatants as alluded to earlier. The conduct of elections should consider representation from both genders. District elections When we say district elections, I'm referring to party district elections. The Veteran League wing comprises 40 positions at district level. The Electoral College comprises all registered veterans in the party district area. Candidature to contest for district positions will be by both self-nomination and nomination from the floor. The elections shall be by secret ballot. Provincial elections. The Provincial Veterans League at provincial level comprises 40 positions as well. The Electoral College comprises all registered veterans league district chairpersons in each respective province. Candidature to contest for provincial positions will be by both self-nomination and nomination from the floor. The 40 positions will be shared equally amongst the number of admin districts in the province, with extra positions allocated to admin districts with the highest number of party districts. Candidates elected at the admin districts will meet at the provincial headquarters to elect each other into the Provincial Veterans League Executive Committee. We then come to the last stage, which is national elections. Elections for the National Veterans Executive Committee takes place at the National Veterans League Conference. The election of candidates to the National Committee takes place soon after the provincial elections. Each province will elect 4 candidates from those elected into the provincial executive. The 4 candidates will then contest for positions in the National Executive Committee. The election of the 4 candidates will take into account the 2 seats for the combatants and the other 2 seats for the other 3 categories. Election of the 4 candidates will also consider gender representation. The 40 candidates from the 10 provinces shall meet for election into the Veterans League National Executive Committee at the Veterans League National Conference. I now move to the roadmap towards the inaugural conference of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle League. July 7, 2022, which is yesterday, we had a stakeholders meeting. This weekend, 9 to 10 July 2022, we will be holding provincial coordinating committee meetings throughout the 10 provinces. And at this meeting, the awareness campaign commences in terms of the establishment of the league. 11 to 15 July, the Ministry of Defense and War Veterans Affairs will provide register of vetted veterans by province and also by admin district. And then registers will be compiled at provincial level as well as at district level. 16 and 17 July, it will be the submission of registers to the Zanu PF party headquarters. 18 to 21 July, the printing of ballot papers for district elections as well as other logistics. On the 22nd of July, there will be the deployment of district elections, where the Commissariat will provide supervisory teams led by Central Committee members. The Commissariat will also provide the voters' roll. It will also provide the ballot paper. And the Commissariat will also provide the list of the polling centers. 23 to 24 July, we will have district elections. 25 to 29 July, the printing of ballot paper for provincial elections as well as preparations for other logistics. 30 to 31 July, we will have the provincial elections, as well as the nominations for national executive candidates. As of now, we intend to hold the Veterans Conference between the 4th and 6th of August. That ends my brief on the guidelines for the establishment of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle League structures. I now would like Comrade Mahia to make some comments. I thank you.
I must sincerely thank my colleagues here, but I would rather call them my colleagues here, Comrade Zanu and Comrade Bimha, our National Political Commissar, for everything they have done for quite a long time to ensure that recognition of the veterans of the liberation struggle becomes a reality. I want to specifically mention Community Travel. The introduction or arrival of the new dispensation was quite a task. It was him at the helm, and I was his mouthpiece during that difficult time. That ended me in jail because of a political space that had been created earlier on for the past 40 years. That is the absence of the force that this nation created for itself to liberate itself. So that platform for war veterans has been created now by the new dispensation. So this absence from this platform was taken advantage of by the usual people that we were fighting against, and notorious political opposition parties were created in this country. Because the revolution had taken care of politicizing the nation for self-political realization, a duty that we needed to proceed with from 1980, and it did not happen. So it gave space to the creation of opposition political parties under their handlers that we all know. I must thank my president, Comrade Edin Mangaba, because he has made history again by filling up that gap with the right political apparatus that is aware that the nation knows of their performance by their deliverance of independence at the doorstep of every Zimbabwean. And that, like he said, Zanu and Zanu. So really, the setting up of the League of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle is out of that realization. And we are tasked by the party to ensure that we have continued this very important program of mobilizing our masses, politicizing our masses, and ensure the most important element of every society for socio-economic development, that is unity. It is the duty of the veterans of the liberation struggle as an organ that was created in the wisdom of our president to ensure that this has also become a reality. The League of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle, I want to assure you, will do everything in their power using the same commitment that they had. Remember, veterans of the liberation struggle committed their lives to make sure that this country is independent. And there are no games that should be played to disadvantage or take that power from the people of Zimbabwe again. So it is our duty as veterans of the liberation struggle to defend the legacy, our legacy, the national legacy, and ensure the continuation of the revolution. Because it is from these veterans of the liberation struggle where you find where the revolutionary principles and revolutionary fundamentals are still alive. So we will need to ensure that we have handed these to our young people so that we ensure that ZANU-PF will rule forever. In actual fact, veterans of the liberation struggle do not compromise when it comes to power. So in 2023, it is 2023 with the Comrade President Mnangagwa as president of this country, our sole president, because the president of this country is a commander of the liberation struggle. The president of this country has served after independence. He is the commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. In other words, he commanded us during the liberation struggle. So he will continue in 2023. So I would like to thank my colleagues here again for giving us this support. We will ensure that the president has 98% plus victory in 2023.